One of the key messages in today's discussion was the role of ideology as a driver of radicalization and the promotion of extremism. Quite often when we look at extremism, radicalization, terrorism, we look at actions, we look at acts taken, and the response is primarily on issues of security, more police, etc. That is important, that's absolutely necessary, but as we're seeing right now as well in a foreign element, ISIS-Daesh is being defeated militarily, but it's ideology, it's belief system. This thing of trying to create a caliphate system whereby their understanding of Islamic law will rule the world is very important to address. We're seeing this ideology spread not just in the Middle East, but across Europe and into the West, and it's supporting kids, supporting people to engage in violent acts on both the small scale and the larger scale. Government policymakers, officials need to understand that the ideology in a non-violent form of extremism has to be addressed. We do need to look at this. So groups like the Muslim Brotherhood and affiliates of theirs, they do not engage in direct violence sometimes they do, but they're telling to people that there's only one version of Islam, we all must follow it, and governments must listen to us and how they understand Islam in society. What we're then seeing is certain ideas, certain concepts about the role of religion in government, about worldviews, cannot be discussed because these groups say, no, we have the understanding, you have to listen to us, and we'll tell our community. There is not a single community, but they claim there is, on how they understand it. So it's creating polarized societies, and that's going to lead to even greater insecurity across Europe.
So what can the authorities do about it?
Authorities need to take two approaches to it. Make use of the legal systems that are in place to show that certain elements of hate speech are prohibited. So any imam, any individual that says non-Muslims do not have the right to or should not be able to, that needs to be addressed. We also need to work on public awareness and education. We need to ask these groups, what is it they're seeking? What is their view on authority of worldviews? We saw in the recent Brussels report on the terrorist attacks here that individuals associated with the Muslim Brotherhood and other political Islam groups did not know of the European Convention of Human Rights, or they felt that the European Convention and the Belgian Constitution were under Islamic law. This is where we need the education, this is where we need the awareness, and this is where governments need to ask some very serious questions about the extent to which these are people who are citizens first, and then citizens who are free to pursue their own religion. What governments also need to do is remove this victimhood grievance narrative. Right now we're seeing specific groups, again, Muslim Brotherhood affiliates, making very much use of this. So every bad foreign policy decision in the Middle East is an attack on Islam. Every domestic policy is an attack on Islam, and they get a lot of press out of it. Whereas the opposing point is like, no, this is not an attack on Islam, it's just you're part of our society on our rules, and you need to pursue our rules of the game, is something governments need to be much more outspoken about, and they need to be very clear in their message.